Hello, everyone, and welcome to a webinar on polity and governance. I hope I am audible as well as visible. Great. Welcome back once again, guys, to all the whole students of mine and new ones as well, and those who have never been students of mine. To all of you, a warm welcome. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes, let others join, and then we'll begin our discussion for the day. Yes, I can see a lot of names which I have taught earlier. Good evening, everyone. Okay, Girish, that's a bit too much. We have some students on the morning batch as well. I did tell those students, please attend the webinar. So thankful some of you have. Okay, so let's begin now. Without wasting much time, we have limited time. Topics to cover. Last one month was quite interesting. And we have the following topics for discussion today: the CPI, which was released in January, the judicial process and reforms, extremely important, and then Minister Without Portfolio, thanks to Tamil Nadu, then the National Civilian Awards, and the Smart Gram Panchayat, again an important topic, the Chandigarh mayor elections, and lastly, reservation for Marathas. So these are the topics at hand today. Okay, so let's begin now without wasting much time. First up, Corruption Perception Index 2023. Are we all set now? Should we start? Oh, we already have some doubts. Interesting. Oh, no doubts. Okay, so first up is the Corruption Perception Index. I hope you're aware what is CPI. The Corruption Perception Index is the leading measurement for public sector corruption worldwide. Okay, it measures how corrupt each country's public sector. So it is the reference to corruption in the public sector. How corrupt each country's public sector is perceived to be, according to experts, according to business people, right? And this corruption perception index is released by a Germany based NGO called Transparency International. This NGO was formed in 1993. Some former World Bank employees formed this NGO, and this index has been released since 1995. The CPI is always released in the month of January. So, in the month of January 2024, they released the CPI 2023, meaning in the month of January 25, they'll release the CPI 2024. Are we clear? last year's CPI. Now, what exactly does CPI measure? As I said, the perceived level of corruption. Are you able to understand this point? Perceived level of corruption. Because there is no actual way to measure corruption. We cannot rely on government reports for corruption. So, various organizations like African Development Bank, uh, the Economist Intelligence Unit based in UK, the Freedom House in USA, Global Insight based in USA, the PRS Group, World Bank, World Economic Forum, World Justice Report. Various such organizations are asked certain questions on what exactly has been their opinion on corruption. So this is just a perception, right? We'll discuss shortly what is a possible problem with this index, but it's a perception. Now, the scale used is 0 to 100. When we say 0, 0 means a country is highly corrupt. Of course, no country gets 0. And 100 means very clean, right? So when the score increases, the corruption level decreases. Clear? Of course, no country gets 100 also, right? That's also there. This was a statement I thought would be nice for you to remember, mentioned by the chairperson of the Transparency International, Francois Valerian, pronounced as Francois Valeria, right? So the chairperson rightfully said that corruption will continue to thrive until justice systems can punish wrongdoing and keep governments in check. So a very important point is the justice system. The focus is on the justice system, right? We know very well our justice systems, not just in India, world over, never guarantee a punishment. The certainty of punishment is actually missing completely, and not just in India, world over. And when justice is bought or politically interfered with, when justice is purchased and there is political interference with justice, of course, it will result in people suffering. Leaders should fully invest and also guarantee that the independence of these institutions that uphold laws or tackle corruption. It's time to end this impunity. Impunity means this kind of exception, exemption, security that is given to people. No impunity now for corruption. So 180 countries are measured, and some very interesting findings came out in this index. So, as far as the index was concerned, point number one was the global average score. So, out of 100, the global average score is 43. In fact, this shows that corruption is thriving across the world. Something nice for you, of course, right? For those who are joining the civil services, and especially for graft, that is for corruption. Great information for you. And in fact, almost 67% countries are scoring below 50. Vast majority of countries have made no progress or have declined in the last decade. In fact, 23 countries fell to their lowest score up to date or till date this year. Of course, the top scoring regions, the usual suspects, Western Europe, the European Union, those 27 countries largely, and the lowest average score is in sub-Saharan Africa, right? See, the when I read this report, also based on their own opinion, the global trend of the weakening justice system is reducing the accountability of the public officials. And this is what is allowing corruption to thrive. Both authoritarian and democratic leaders are weakening the justice systems. So recently, there was a video released by one YouTuber. Now, let's not give too much of credence to the YouTuber on the dictatorship video. Some parts of the video were correct, some were actually just propaganda. But yes, when things are wrong, we have to accept it immediately. So that's true that authoritarian or democratic leaders, they are all weakening the justice system, which is resulting in more corruption, more impunity. And this makes it difficult for ordinary people to get justice. While the rich, the powerful, often will manipulate the system, of course, for their own benefit, right? Even countries that score well on corruption indexes, they also struggle with these issues. In fact, they also fail in tackling the international corruption cases effectively. As I said, no country has scored 100. Okay, the top score of 100, that is full marks, nobody gets that. So who are these toppers? Toppers, Denmark, rank 1 goes to Denmark. And what is the score of Denmark? Score of Denmark is 90. So you can see very well, nobody is actually scoring full marks. Then Finland is rank 2. Second rank is Finland. Third rank, of course, New Zealand. Finland's score is 87. New Zealand saw a dip in their score. Their score was 85, followed by those typical countries, Norway, then Singapore at rank 5. Last rank is Somalia. Somalia's score is 11. This is the score of Somalia with rank of 180. Then there are three countries which have the same rank, 177: Venezuela, South Sudan, and Syria. So these three countries have the same rank: Venezuela, South Sudan, and Syria. They all rank 177, and the score of all these countries, I think, is 13. Two scores more, or 2 points more than Somalia. India's rank is 93. We have fallen in the rank. Just to clarify, our rank earlier was hovering in the 80s. It also went to up to 70s at some point of time. But our score is 39. That has also seen a dip. Our score last year was 40. In fact, over the course of last 3 years, our score was 40. 2020, 2021, 2022, the score was 40. In 2019 and 2018, the score was 41. So slowly and steadily, we are dipping down score wise also, not just rank, score wise also. That's the cause of concern. Other countries like UK's rank is 20, USA, right? These countries, of course, at a very nice place. In our continent, Bhutan, amongst our neighbors, you'll be surprised, ranks 26. 26th rank. Of course, you would love to know our best friends, China. So China has performed better than India. China's rank is 76, though China has also declined. Last time, China's rank was 66. And our closest of all friends, Pakistan. Why to compare with Pakistan? It's a failed state, but still, just to be happy, Pakistan's rank is 133. Okay. Anyway, so India's rank has declined 93 from being in the 80s, 85, and 86. Now, just to also give you an assessment on what exactly is checked when we say CPI. So, data sources that are used to compile CPI specifically cover certain aspects of public sector corruption. Number one, bribery, diversion of public funds, officials using their public office for private gain without facing any consequence. Then things like ability of governments to contain corruption in the public sector, excessive red tape. What is red tape? Any idea? Red tape means excessive conformity to rules and regulations, being crazy obsessed with rules and regulations, right? Just like, there's this movie called Munna Bhai, or the other versions of it, like Shankar Dada, Vasool Raja. If you have seen those movies, remember the dialogue that before admitting a patient, filling up form is mandatory. Same concept, right? I mean, we are crazy obsessed for rules. Rules are important. That is called red tape. So, red tape is again a concern. Excessive red tape, which may increase opportunities for corruption. Then, nepotistic appointments in civil services. We see across the spectrum in various states, there are allegations, especially at the lower levels. Group C, Group D employees, some kind of mismanagement takes place. We have very, very transparent and fair bodies like State Public Service Commission, the Staff Selection Commission. Have you heard of these bodies? Right? So fair and transparent, right? We know very well. Every time in every state, there'll be some problem, right? In fact, sometimes the rates are out in the open on this is the rate to become a DSP, rate to become an assistant, etc. It's pathetic, right? Just recently in one state in northern part of the country, paper was leaked of an examination. Nothing unique. These are common. And this is what unites India also, right? Unites us. That in every state, the Staff Selection Commission, the SPSCs are equally effective. Anyway, then there are also laws that ensure public officials must disclose their finances and potential conflicts of interest. So, as a civil servant, you have to disclose your assets and liabilities every year. Then state capture by narrow vested interests. State capture by narrow vested interests. State capture that has happened. There are allegations right now that big businessmen, big corporates have a very close association with the ruling party in power, right? Let's see. This recently, the Supreme Court had mentioned about electoral bonds. So, two topics: electoral bonds and the defamation report. I have already made a YouTube video on that. So, please look at the YouTube video. No self promotion, just to save time. Please watch the video and you'll have proper content on those two topics. So, by mid March, that is by 13th of March, I believe, the Supreme Court has instructed Election Commission to give us information on the electoral bonds, right? So, let's see which all corporates have funded which all parties. We'll get to know. Some interesting insights can be developed there. So that's it with respect to the CPI, Corruption Perception Index. It basically gives score based on the topics I said, and based on the score, the ranking is given. Now, what exactly is the problem with CPI? See, firstly, and that is something which is going to always be there. There is no way to accurately measure corruption. It's not possible, right? Because you cannot rely on government reports. Some people always say that, sir, why don't we look into the cases reported? How many of you have paid a bribe in your life? Of course, many of you must have paid bribes of various amounts. I mean, there are situations where I have, especially in the offline classes, people are more open and free. So I have heard situations where people have paid a bribe of 10 rupees, 20 rupees, one cigarette, one real juice packet, one Maggie packet also taken by the police officer, right? At some point to a traffic constable. Most of us have, right, been involved once in our life. Now, do we report it? Of course not. We don't report it. The problem is we cannot rely on government reports. So, one problem that is always going to be there with measuring corruption is that every measurement is just perception based. So, there is always going to be lot of subjectivity. Lot of subjectivity, right? Because CPI relies on perception rather than some direct measurement of corrupt behavior. And this approach can be subjective, as perceptions may not always align with the actual levels of corruption. Different stakeholders like businessmen, citizens, and public officials may have varying perceptions based on their experience, right? Some people prefer corruption, some people don't prefer corruption. Right? When you go to a, let's say, an RTO to get your driving license, lot of people with money actively want to have corruption there because this will ease your task. It will no, quicken the pace of you getting your driving license. Only if you could find somebody you could bribe and get the deal quickly, rather than standing in the long queue. So sometimes people prefer corruption. That's called white corruption, speed money. Then lack of specificity, meaning the index aggregates various sources to come up with a single score for each country. This can be very obscure. I mean, the this can actually completely obscure the very specific nature or type of corruption. It also does not distinguish between bribery, the petty bribes that you give, and grand corruption, right? So, no distinction between petty or grand corruption. What is grand corruption? Grand corruption is a state sellout completely, right? When projects are given to certain corporates. What is petty corruption? That you get involved in. You get involved in paying bribe to, let's say, a traffic constable. That is petty corruption, right? Also, different branches of government. Now, we cannot distinguish between how corrupt our government is, how corrupt PSUs are, how corrupt is judiciary, because this index is one common index. So it's difficult to differentiate. Maybe in our country, judiciary is not corrupt. Maybe, and government is highly corrupt. We can't distinguish this. We have one common score. Score is this. Rank is this. Simple. Okay. Then there is always this potential for misinterpretation because perceptions can be influenced by stereotypes, high profile incidents that can also skew the results. Because in the West, there is always this perception that Asian countries are largely corrupt, right? And they will always have this inherent bias that, we are corrupt. So, perceptions also are very important and they can create. They can create a prejudice against a country, and because of that there is a direct impact on the development of the nation. Because if, let's say, India's rank is coming down drastically and constantly, do you think that people internationally and globally will be very open to the idea of investing in India if our rank is falling down every day? No, of course not. If every year our rank is slowly drifting down, we'll always feel that maybe this country is not a very interesting option for my investments. I should go to some other country where I have to pay less bribes and make more profits. Then this CPI focuses only on the public sector corruption. It completely excludes itself from any kind of private sector corruption. So the it predominantly focuses on the public sector corruption, omitting the private sector corruption, which can also have a significant impact on society, right? In fact, Transparency International, the NGO which releases this index, as I said earlier, defines corruption like this only: that corruption is the private gain or by abusing public office. So, misuse of public office for private gain is what is called corruption. So, that's also a challenge, right? Apart from it, there is always a cultural bias, right? uh, Single score per country, obscuring the regional local variations in the corruption within the country, that's also there. It's an oversimplification. And in some countries there is always a very generic culture of quid pro quo, right? In India, think of it, very simple. Whenever any person comes to your now it does not really happen much, but in these older days when the results were not released online, the postman used to come with the joining letter, and the postman would know very well that this is the joining letter. And when he would bring a joining letter for somebody for a government job in that house, he would insist, I want my bakshish, I want some gift. Now that is not a bribe. You can't say it is a bribe. Now he's forcing you to give something, but that is out of happiness. It's a part of our culture, right? Think of something like this: the passports that you get, passports. There's a police verification step. In most cases, what happens? We know very well. I mean, nobody says that, but it's an unsaid rule that the policeman has come for verification. So we need to take care of that innocent policeman, right? Because if we don't, maybe there will be some delay in the passport issuance. That's possible. So these are some of the issues with the corruption perception index. Okay. So that is how cultural bias can also play a very important role, because it results in oversimplification. In some countries, there is a general culture of such things, but this index ignores that culture completely, ignores it completely, and also looks at it as corruption, which should not be the case, right? So, sir, LPG delivery vendors also ask for bakshish. Of course, they ask for bakshish. That's how it is. As I said, guys, so those who have joined late, of course, would have missed out on certain things. When I said that this perception is based on questions asked from various international organizations like African Development Bank, World Economic Forum, World Justice Report, Freedom House, Global Insight, PRS Group, then this Hong Kong based group, what is it called? Political and Economic Risk Consultancy Group, then the Switzerland based International Institute for Management Development. Various kind of bodies are asked these questions. People are not asked this question, okay? It is not a perception of citizens, it is a perception amongst the international organizations and big bodies, not the people. Okay. Solve this prelims based question. Please mark the answer accordingly. I launched the poll, so don't type your answer. I'll give you a minute, so don't worry. Done? Okay. Very few got this correct. Interesting. Some of you thought two statements are correct. The scores are given based on perceived level of public and private. Only public sector corruption, not private sector corruption, right? And so this is wrong. With the increase in score, the score increases, the corruption level decreases. Denmark's score is 90, corruption level is very low, right? Somalia's score is 11, corruption level is very high. Increase in score, better score, lesser corruption. 100 means very clean, 0 means highly corrupt. Citizens' experience is also taken, or taken, not taking, taken into consideration. This is also wrong. All three are wrong. So the right answer is D, none. Okay. I've also put up a mains question for you to write. Please look at this. Analyze the effectiveness of the corruption perception index as a tool for measuring corruption globally. Simple question, 150 words. So those who are not preparing for the prelims this year can practice this question, write your answers. I'll just give you briefly the idea. So the introduction, we know very well, not more than 20-25 words. 20 words introduction where you write about what is CPI, what's the purpose, etc. That is sufficient. In the body, now we'll we'll mention the, the effectiveness, right? Effectiveness meaning highlighting how the CPI raises awareness. So first point is the effectiveness. How CPI raises awareness, influences policy actions, in fact, assists in international benchmarking. And also, we have discussed some limitations or some shortcomings. Mention those. And then in the conclusion, around 30 words, not more than that. Mention about CPI's value in initiating a global discussion on corruption, at least. And also, we have to supplement it with other evidences, a comprehensive understanding, and also adding people's perspective. That will be your conclusion. Clear? So, this is how you can frame the answer. Just a small additional information, nothing unique, but this since this was released, so I'm just sharing this with you. Uh, the Henley Passport Index, basically, Henley Passport Index is an authoritative ranking of all the world's passports according to number of destinations their holders can access without a prior visa, meaning visa on arrival or e-visa, etc. is required. And this index is based on information from IATA, that is the International Air Transport Association, IATA. International Air Transport Association provides the information because it is the largest and the most accurate travel information database. And then the Henley and Partners research team based out of London provide this kind of index. So 199 different passports are compared, and the top rank goes to countries like France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Singapore, Spain, where these countries have access to 194 different countries. So if you are a passport holder of any of these countries, you can go to 194 countries with a visa, say on arrival or e-visa, etc., or online application of visa. Second rank goes to countries like Finland, Netherlands, South Korea, Sweden with 193 countries. India's rank is 85. We can actually visit 62 different countries where either we can have e-visa facility like Argentina, Armenia, Bahrain, Colombia, right? Or we also have visa-free facility like Bhutan, right? Haiti, Hong Kong, Mauritius, or sometimes visa on arrival is also there, like Indonesia, Iran, Angola, Bolivia, right? Uh, Fiji. And then there are some visa on arrival and also e-visa facilities like in Kenya, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Tajikistan, Tanzania. So all these countries allow. Vietnam allows for it. Right? So that's also there. One basic information. Of course, the worst country is Afghanistan, where visa on arrival or e-visa is only allowed in 28 countries for Afghanistan. Right? Pakistan's rank, I think, was 106, where 34 countries allow Pakistani people or Pakistani passport holders entry through visa on arrival, etc. Okay, that's it. Just additional piece of information on Henley Passport Index. Coming to our second point, Judicial process and reforms. A discussion in polity and governance is incomplete without judiciary, right? So, recently, or rather last year, Departmental Standing Committee. I hope you know what is a DRSC, the Departmentally Related Standing Committee on Personal Public Grievances, Law and Justice, gave its 133rd report to the government, and the government finally responded, which was later on published recently by the same parliamentary committee on what the government had responded. So, this committee gave some recommendations for judicial reform. What kind of reform is required in the judiciary? So, we'll go one by one. I would advise all of you who have taken a class on polity from me or otherwise also preparing their notes, please selectively take these, add to your existing notes. Okay, this is going to serve you for a long period of time. First up, regional benches of Supreme Court. So, I hope you are aware that as per the provisions of Article 130, please listen very carefully now. Article 130, Supreme Court sits in which place? New Delhi. But we know that the Chief Justice can allow the Supreme Court to sit in other places also with the prior permission of the President. But currently, we have only one bench of Supreme Court, that is in New Delhi. Now, what had happened was not recently, but even the 10th Law Commission in its 95th report, long time ago, then the 11th Law Commission in its, I think, 125th report, then 18th Law Commission. Currently, we have the 22nd Law Commission going on. 18th Law Commission, in its 229th report, they have all suggested that we need multiple branches of Supreme Court. How can one branch be sufficient? Right? The idea being, now, we want that there should be one court in Delhi that should be a separate constitutional court. This court will only take up constitutional matters, nothing else. And then we can have 4 to 5 branches across the country, which will be the highest court of appeal. These will be the court of appeal, where all the criminal cases, civil cases which have been appealed against a high court judgment go. So we can have branches in New Delhi, we can have branches in cities like Mumbai, branches in cities like Kolkata, then Chennai. So one commission had said that we can choose between Chennai and Hyderabad where you want to have a branch, multiple branches, right? And what's the reason? Very simple. See, the benefit is going to be, this is going to reduce the distance traveled and the cost borne by the litigant, because distance should never be an impediment in the delivery of justice. Distance, time, right? This means additional cost. Somebody from Tamil Nadu, if he wants to appeal against a High Court judgment of Madras High Court, has to travel all the way. Same goes for people from Northeast. Same goes from Gujarat, Karnataka, various states. Why should this be a concern for people? In fact, the regional benches can also be seen as some kind of solution to the overflowing caseload of judiciary, also reducing the litigation cost to the common man. And then language problem, finding lawyers, that's also a concern. There's an issue of language problem, legal assistance, because all these things are a concern when you go out of your hometown, home state. Justice becomes costly. See, now Supreme Court had already been questioned. Do you want do you want the multiple branches or not? The court said no. Supreme Court in 2010 itself had said that no, no, we don't need it. In fact, various attorney generals have said that this would impair the unity, the integrity, the importance, the majesty of Supreme Court. Oh, having multiple branches will impact the majesty of Supreme Court. And yes, there are some other slightly better reasons also, like there could be conflicting views. It may be difficult to resolve conflicting judgments coming from various courts, right? And this can be a challenge. Anyway, this matter is presently in the Supreme Court. A petition has been filed for multiple branches, but we don't see as this as a serious concern, because inside the Supreme Court also there are multiple benches functioning. All we want is to have these benches functioning in different courts across the country, right? And if there is any conflict, it will always go to the constitutional court in Delhi. So this can be done. Don't we have multiple benches of high courts in a state like Allahabad and Lucknow, Jodhpur and Jaipur, right? We have it in Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. So it can be done. We are reading a bit too much into it, right? Local influence cannot be a concern. It can be a problem in Delhi also. Is there any local influence on Supreme Court judges sitting in Delhi? No. So this should not be a concern, rather. But anyway, let's see. The government has said that, see, we can do nothing. The petition is filed. Let the court decide. Okay. Second recommendation: preparation and publication of annual reports by guys. Just to clarify, we are not saying there will be 20 Supreme Courts. One Supreme Court only, multiple benches across the country. So right now you have to go to Delhi for any kind of appeal. That will not be the case. So those who come from bigger states, they will understand it better. Like say in a state like UP, some judges sit in Allahabad High Court, some judges sit in the Lucknow bench of the High Court. So judgments come from both the places. So don't think that we cannot have multiple benches. We just want the judges to be spread all across the country, especially for appeals on criminal cases, civil cases. This can be done. Anyway, second recommendation is the preparation and publication of annual reports by courts. Now, of course, this is seen as a very productive suggestion. See, every government department, every ministry, does it not prepare its annual report? Yes, it does, based on what was the performance of the ministry or department last year. People have a right to know what is happening. Similarly, preparation and publication of annual report is like an appraisal of what the institution has done over the past year. There is no harm if each court also at the beginning of every year takes stock of the work that it had transacted last year. See, after all, courts are also public institutions, and the preparation, the publication of these reports will highlight the work of the judiciary. It will make it accessible to public. And not just this, if you keep on providing information to people, it also no reduces the trust deficit that is built between the people and the judiciary. In fact, the committee had given a special appreciation for the Odisha High Court. The Odisha High Court actually has been preparing the annual report. And when this committee last year had met, it had actually given the suggestions. It had actually given the suggestions in June that Chief Justice and Chief Justices of all the high courts, please, there should be publication of annual reports by you. Please inform us on what is going to be the situation with or what has been the story in the last 1 year with the courts functioning, how many cases have you resolved, what has been the judgment like, etc. Basic information. People have a right to know. So that's there. So this is currently under contention. A request has been made. Let's see. Now it also depends on the chief justice and the respective chief justices of high courts. Then, third point is the increase in the retirement age of high court judges. So, I hope you are aware that the current retirement age of high court judges is how much? Please tell me. Currently, it is 62 years. Though you'd also be aware that it has been increased earlier. So, this was increased from 60 via the 15th Amendment Act. This is an old Amendment Act, not really important, of 1963. So, at the beginning of our commencement of our constitution, the age was 60. It has been increased to 62, right? Now, what do we want? We want a further increase in this age. So, the current request is to make it 65 at par with the Supreme Court retirement. Shreyank, I see only messages from Shreyank suddenly. Classes of 23, 24, batch 3, 4 not being conducted. Really, is that the case? Okay, just mail the concern, right? The change in schedule was there. Uh, I don't think this is a right forum to message about this. I'm not really sure if this forum is appropriate. Let's have a informed discussion right now on this topic, right? I fully understand that there could be some concern, but let's have a discussion on this topic, right? Because I'm not able to see any query or concern that comes up. I just saw that. Okay, so 65 years. Now, because the schedule class is postponed after prelims, that could be possible. Anyway, let's come back here. Now, see, just to clarify, age of retirement of judges needs to be increased. The committee said why? The increase in the longevity, advancement in the medical sciences, improved health of population. Now, people are not dying at the age of 60, at the age of 55, right? So, in fact, back in 2002, there was a Chief Justice Conference at New Delhi. They also said the same thing. There's an old report of DRSC of 2010. They have said the same thing. And you'll be surprised that there was a bill brought, 114th Constitutional Amendment Bill was also brought on this topic. Though this bill actually lapsed because the Lok Sabha got dissolved, the bill lapsed. Nothing could come out of it. And as I said, reasons are very solid: increase in the life expectancy, improved health standards, need for the utilization of knowledge, experience, wisdom of High Court judges. So, these are some reasons why we want to increase the age of High Court judges' retirement as well, making it at par with what? With the Supreme Court. Now, just to clarify, the government has said we have no response on that, no interest. Why? Number one, if we increase the retirement age of high court judges, it will reduce the attraction amongst the high court judges to go to Supreme Court. Maybe the consequence can be that many high court judges may prefer to remain in the high court as the chief justice or as the chief justice in their high court. Further, if you increase the age, it also might result in the demand for increasing the age among Supreme Court judges also. Then also, many retired High Court judges at 62, they also become members of tribunals, etc. Now, in all these tribunals, retirement age is 65. So, a lot of these High Court judges who retire at the age of 62 get a chance to be a part of these tribunals for 3 years. You are taking away that chance also. And when you increase the age of judges, you are also going to extend the benefit to sometimes non-deserving or non-performing or underperforming judges also. And lastly, the government said, see, there is no limit to it. In future, there will be efforts to increase the age further. And what about other public agencies? Then maybe in future tribunals, commissions, civil servants, everybody will start claiming increase retirement age, increase retirement age. So it can set up a chain reaction. So as of now, government is not really interested in increasing the retirement age of high court judges. Then fourth recommendation, of course, filling up of the vacancies. I hope you are aware, especially in the high courts, the concern is that we have currently 331 vacancies. 331 seats are vacant in the high courts out of 1114, 1114, right? That means around 29.7%, 71% vacancy is there. Uh, Government has responded by saying that, so what can we do? We can do nothing about it. See, the government said that we take effort to fill up the vacancies, but vacancies arise because of retirement, because of resignations, because of elevation of judges to the Supreme Court, because the strength increases. So we cannot hire judges overnight. These vacancies can be filled slowly over a period of time, so we can do nothing about it. Simple. That's the government's response. That it's not in our control, right? So it'll take some time. One very interesting point that was raised was the social diversity of Supreme Court and High Courts. See, this also the government has said it is not in our control. But just to point this out, the representation of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, women, minorities in the higher judiciary is far below the desired level. It does not reflect the social diversity of the country. In fact, in the recent years, there has been a declining trend in representation, especially from marginalized sections of Indian society. Now, see, there is no provision for reservation in the judicial appointment to High Court and Supreme Court, but the committee said that we feel that adequate representation of various sections of Indian society will further strengthen the trust, the credibility, and the acceptability of the judiciary among citizens. Right. And the committee has also said that both Supreme Court and High Courts should take deliberate steps and efforts to recommend adequate number of women candidates and candidates from other marginalized sections to the Supreme Court and the High Court. In fact, law minister had sent this proposal to chief justices that guys, please, not guys, milords, please try to recommend more names from the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, etc. But nothing has happened as of now. And just to clarify, how many women judges do we have in the Supreme Court? Women judges, not currently. Currently, we have three women judges: Justice Bela Trivedi, Justice Hima Kohli, and Justice B.V. Nagratna. But since independence or since 1950 establishment of Supreme Court, we have had only 11 women judges in Supreme Court. That is almost 4%. Since 1950, only 4% judges have been women. Same goes for the Muslims. Less than 7% judges so far since independence have been Muslims, right? 19, that is the number. So far, we have seen just one scheduled tribe Supreme Court judge, just five scheduled caste Supreme Court judges. So diversity is lacking. But again, the government said, what can we do? There is no reservation. You tell the Supreme Court, we are telling Supreme Court to recommend more names of women and all. What can we do? It's not in their control. Then one very, very logical recommendation given was post retirement assignment. Recently, did you come to know, especially people of Andhra Pradesh would know, who is the governor of your state, Andhra Pradesh? S. Abdul Nazir. Do you know who this person is? S. Abdul Nazir is the former Supreme Court judge. He is the governor. And when he was made the governor of Andhra Pradesh, it was actually challenged in the Supreme Court. What is this? Retired judge being made a governor. In the past also, P. Sathashivam, he was made the governor of Kerala. Or we have seen the case where Justice Gogoi has been made the MP in the Lok Sabha, right? So the committee said, don't have all these things. Retired judges, end of career, sit in a house and enjoy. But you'll be surprised to know, in the last 5 years, 21% judges who have retired have taken some post. Now, mostly they have taken a post, let's say a member of tribunal or human rights commission, state human rights commission, etc. And don't think it is some BJP is doing. From 2006 to 2016, 70 such judges had taken various kind of posts post the retirement. Now, in most cases, they take up posts where judicial qualifications are required. And the government has actually responded saying that no, we cannot make a law to prevent this. Why? Because appointment of retired Supreme Court judges to various posts, commissions, tribunals are made by different ministries as per the laws. And some of these bodies require the expertise and experience of a judge. So we cannot have that. That is okay, but don't make them governors. Don't make them members of Rajya Sabha. At least we can have this. But sadly, government has outrightly refused it, saying no, this recommendation not accepted. Then decreasing the vacation in Supreme Court, that's again one concern. Too many holidays in Supreme Court. Here also nothing has been done so far. Government has taken no stand here. Though a very beautiful recommendation came from Justice R.M. Lodha, because when you hear all these things, Supreme Court only works for 190 days a year with summer vacations, winter vacations. We also need to make the judges understand that a common man holds a perception that despite having such pendency, judges go on long vacations. They're enjoying their life. Now, you may not be enjoying your life, but this is the common perception that you are enjoying your life. So, former Chief Justice R.M. Lodha, he actually had given a very interesting recommendation that instead of all the judges going on vacation together at one time, all judges should take leave at different points of time so that the court functions throughout the year. But nothing happened on that. And lastly, one more recommendation: mandatory declaration of assets by judges. What about this? Supreme Court is silent on this. Government said we don't know. You ask the court. So this will only bring trust and credibility in the system. But let's hope. Recently, the Supreme Court's judgment had come on transparency in elections. Let's hope that they make their functioning also transparent. We might find one fine day transparency in the judicial functioning also. Okay, that's it for the reforms. So please make sure that you go through these reforms properly. Just a small point to remind you: the departmentally rated standing committees, what are they? In case you have forgotten, these are the permanent standing committees in the parliament mentioned under the rule number 331C Lok Sabha rules. Remember, how many such departmental standing committees are there? 24 such committees are there. Absolutely correct. And how many members in each team or in each committee? 21 MPs from which house? Lok Sabha. 10 MPs from Rajya Sabha. Of these 24 committees, 16 function under which house? Under Lok Sabha, and 8 function under Rajya Sabha. Those committees which function under Lok Sabha, the chairman is appointed by the speaker. Those functioning under Rajya Sabha, the chairman appointed by the chairman of Rajya Sabha. And of course, we know that ministers, can they become members of these committees? Tell me, can ministers become members of DRSCs? No, they cannot. Ministers cannot become members. Great to know that we have pretty decent response here on the committees. Okay, that's it with respect to the judicial reforms. Chandra Jyoti, Article 16. Article 16 is not, guys, somebody has asked a very valid question. Article 16, why is it not applicable on judiciary? Can somebody respond? Why is Article 16 not applicable to judiciary? Vrutika, very good. Kirtana, my UPSC, Fatima. Oh, that's very interesting. Aditya, amazing. A lot of you are absolutely right because judiciary is not a part of state under Article 12. Beautiful. Amazing. If you refer to Article 12, judiciary is not a part of state. Okay. Anyway, solve this practice question from prelims. Let's see. Read the statements carefully and then mark the answer. I'll give you a minute to mark the answer. Fourth statement is each DRSC is headed by a minister, ensuring executive oversight over legislative review. Okay, great. Absolutely correct. B is the right answer here. DRSCs are exclusive to Lok Sabha? No. DRSCs have power to veto legislations. Why will they have this kind of power? DRSCs are headed by minister? Wrong. Members of DRSCs are nominated by the Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Chairman of Rajya Sabha, and these committees consist of members from both the houses of the Parliament. Okay, so B was the right answer. Uh, Gaurav, sir, is reservation a constitutional right? Guys, again respond. One aspirant says reservation is a constitutional right. Of course not. Reservation is, who is writing fundamental right? Please, don't give me a heart attack. Reservation is an exception. It is not a right. Okay? Reservation is an exception to rights. What is a right? Non-discrimination is a right. Anyway, one mains question, simple, easy to understand. Judicial reforms are crucial for enhancing the efficiency, transparency, and accountability of the judiciary. In India, critically analyze the need for judicial reforms and suggest measures to address the challenges faced by judiciary. I hope you can write the answer. In the intro, introduced the context, importance of judicial reforms, right? Stating the aim of reforms, enhancing efficiency, transparency, accountability. In the body, mention what are the problems, backlog of cases, pendency of cases, transparency and accountability is a problem, access to justice, infrastructure, technology, right? And then the challenges like the legislative interference, resistance to change, resource constraint. We have seen so many challenges, etc. You can mention those things. And finally, suggesting measures like appointment transparency, legal education in the country, fast track courts, technology integration. And we have seen some reform suggestions right now also, so you can mention all those reforms. Again, those who are preparing for the exam next year onwards, you can write these answers. Okay, moving on to now some smaller topics quickly. Minister without portfolio, interesting topic that came up for us. So the story is of one Senthil Balaji. So nothing much to explain here. I'll just tell you what and how sometimes our politicians misuse government's resources. Senthil Balaji became an MP, MLA back in 2006 when he was with the AIADMK. Then, in fact, he became a minister also in the AIADMK in Tamil Nadu. So, we are referring to the state of Tamil Nadu. Later on, he joined the TTV Dinakaran faction. Then, in 2018, I think he joined DMK. And then, when he was a transport minister, then what had happened was there was this allegation that he had manipulated the marks of candidates appearing for various examinations in the department. Cash for job scam. Simple. Cash for job scam. And FIRs were filed against him, against his brother Ashok Kumar, and also his secretary Shanmugam. So now, what is the problem? He was at that point of time holding the portfolio of electricity and excise. So the chief minister, who recommends to governors the ministries, he recommended that I am taking away his portfolio, that is his ministry. Portfolio means ministry. So his ministry was taken away from him, but he continued to be a minister. Minister without any work. Minister without ministry. How absurd does it sound? That's the beauty of our politicians. So M. Senthil Balaji remained a minister without portfolio, without any ministry. And when the arrest happened, of course, he had a heart attack. You know very well what happens to our politicians, right? Though there were genuine concerns of artery blockages and etc. All these things were there. Let's not become too harsh also. But yeah, in fact, this very unique concept is there in our country, that a minister without portfolio. Who is this person? He is a member of the government who does not have any particular ministry or department. Now, this would mean that they do not have any specific set of responsibilities tied to a particular sector, finance, education, health, etc. But they are still a part of cabinet and they can be assigned various tasks. So sometimes the idea is that you can be given some special projects, right? As a minister without portfolio, maybe you are an expert in something very small. I'll give you an example. Let's say we want the students here to have a better opinion on the judicial reforms. So let's say we call Justice DY Chandrachud to come and take a class at Byju's on judicial reforms. Of course, Justice Chandrachud will have way more knowledge on judicial reforms than me, without doubt, right? But then that knowledge of his is very selective for judiciary only. He may not be able to deal with the multiple aspects of polity, which also includes governance, etc. Right? So, in some very specific area, he has lot of knowledge, but maybe not something that is needed for the examination. Right? That is where he might not be an expert. But for a selective purpose, we can call him. Don't worry, there is no plan to call him. I don't think he'll come also. Okay, just an example. So that's there. So similarly, maybe some person has some expertise in a very narrow field. We can't make him a minister and give him an entire ministry, but we can take some special advantage of his skill set. This is the underlying logic, but this never works. Why do we have this kind of concept? We have this concept because, very simple, the reason is that we want to accommodate people somehow. So this is a minister without portfolio. So just one thing, how do we create ministries? Just a quick recap. Article 77 clause 3 says that the president makes rules for the transaction of business and allocation of business amongst the ministers. And there is a rule called Government of India Allocation of Business Rules. In these rules, we have the names of all the ministries. So at any point of time, if you want to create a new ministry at the central level, feel free to amend these rules, done by the president on the advice of the prime minister. Are we clear? Now, what is the reason? What is the advantage of having a minister without portfolio? See, one such thing is political inclusion. These appointments can be used by or to include individuals from various backgrounds, right? Offering a broader representation of the entire state or various groups in the government. Then, as I said, specialized expertise can be there. If some person has special expertise, then he can be given this task, right? But then, what are the challenges? Issue number one: complete lack of clarity and transparency. I mean, a minister without portfolio, what is their role? What is the responsibility? This can result in complete confusion in the mind of public and within the government also. What is this person there to do? What is his role? Nobody knows. And then this can raise concerns over their accountability, undermining public trust, and potential for misuse. Because these positions are just for political favor, appeasement, wasteful expenditure. This is very poor resource utilization. You are basically doing what? Giving somebody the tag of a minister, increased allowances, security cover, big bungalow, extra perks, but no task. What is that? Is that not wasting country's resources? Right? And of course, there is this erosion of the ministerial responsibility because every minister is responsible to the house for the performance of his functions, right? But what is this fellow's function? No function, nothing, but still enjoys all the benefits. And then the public perception. When you have such things, it also raises many questions. Public, since it is not clear about ministers' duties, contributions, there is no justification. It might lead to skepticism about the transparency, and people know very well, is this the way you use taxpayers' money? You are wasting my money. Madras High Court actually had scolded the CM on this. Madras High Court said CM is an executive head. It is a responsibility of the executive head to assign ministerial posts to elected people. However, if he feels that a particular elected representative cannot be assigned a responsibility, there is no moral, no constitutional basis to retain such a MLA as minister without portfolio. In fact, Madras High Court said that this kind of behavior is against the ethos, good governance of the country. What are you guys doing? Sadly, nothing came out of it. But anyway, Senthil Balaji resigned this month on his own. He finally resigned in the month of February 2024, citing bad health, but for 8 months continued to hold the post. Anyway, solve this practice question. Be very careful. No, without a portfolio, also you can be a minister. See, the task is the governor appoints you as a minister, right? The task is given to you based on the role you have been given. So you are made the minister, no role given to you. Simple. That's possible. That is what is happening. Guys, what happened? Are we all okay? In the right frame of mind? Is it too late? I think maybe because it's too late, some of your brains are not functioning properly. Consider the following statement with reference to Union Executive. Union Executive. The ministers are appointed by the president. This is correct. Fully agree. The minimum number of ministers in the council must be 12. Really? Is that for center or states? It's only for states, not for union executive. And the number of ministers in the council cannot exceed more than 15% of the total number of MPs in the parliament. MPs in the parliament or the Lok Sabha? The Lok Sabha. Wrong, wrong. A1 only. Somebody says, I tapped C. It has gone to A. Good for you. You got it correct by mistake. And you are sad about it. Those who have a prelims around the corner, this is a criminal offense. Okay? I think you should be booked for murder charges immediately. Anyway, coming to the National Civilian Awards, that is the Bharat Ratna Padma Awards. I think you know very well. These awards are given by the central government of India, and we have these three Padma Awards, and of course the fourth one, that is the Bharat Ratna, and this is the criteria. It is not clearly defined. The criteria is very poorly defined, but this is the criteria. And when this award is conferred, the recipient gets a certificate, a sanad, plus sorry, bracket, plus also a medallion. Mind you, there is no cash prize. Okay, don't think some cash is received. This is not some Nobel Prize where cash is given. No cash, no monetary grant. Of course, we know very well. Medallion means medal. This one, medallion. Okay, certificate and medal. Now, Bharat Ratna, ideally, Bharat Ratna is given to maximum three per year. This is ideally, but this can always be modified. Like in 1999, four people were given Bharat Ratna. In 2024, five people have been awarded the Bharat Ratna. Dr. M.S. Swaminath for his monumental contribution to our nation in agriculture, in farmers' welfare. Lal Krishna Advani for his unparalleled effort towards furthering national unity, cultural resurgence in the country. Karpuri Thakur from Bihar for his unwavering commitment, the visionary leadership for the upliftment of the backward and the deprived. Then P.V. Narasimha Rao for the visionary leadership which was instrumental in making India economically advanced. And Narendra Modi said that he has his steps were instrumental in laying a very solid foundation for the country's prosperity and growth. And then Chaudhary Charan Singh for dedicating his entire life to the rights of farmers and their welfare. So this time, five people have been given the Bharat Ratna. Okay. Padma Bhushan again to five people. Venkaya Naidu got the Padma Bhushan this time. Chiranjeevi, people from Hyderabad film industry would be very happy, right? People from the Telugu cinema, Chiranjeevi has been awarded this Padma Bhushan. Vajanti Mala, the yesterday's actress, has now been given the Padma Bhushan. Then Padma Bhushan, 17 people. Usha Uthap, Mithun Chakravarti, these people. Fatima Bibi has been given the Padma Bhushan. So Fatima Bibi, who died last year only, I think in November. Fatima Bibi was the first ever woman Supreme Court judge, 1989. Okay, so she has been awarded the Padma Bhushan. Okay, and then Padma Shri to a lot of people like in the field of agriculture, sports, yoga, spiritualism, art, social work, etc. Rohan Bopanna got the Padma Shri this time. Rohan Bopanna, who became the winner at the age of 43, the Australian Open, right? Uh, as far as these awards are concerned, I hope you know these awards were suspended twice. Once in 1977 to 1980, and then from 1992 to 1995. These awards were suspended. No awards were given. But let me just remind you, these awards are not titles. There is a very famous Supreme Court case, the Balaji Raghavan case of 1996, which clearly says that these awards are not titles. But please don't use these awards in your name. Okay. And of course, since there is no criteria for these awards, sometimes we see some very funny things happening because central government gives these awards, meaning the PM gives this award. In 1955, Pandit Nehru got the Bharat Ratna. Pandit Nehru, who was the PM in 1955, Pandit Nehru. So there's a YouTuber who made a very interesting joke on this, that once Pandit Nehru saw Pandit Nehru and he told Pandit Nehru that Nehruji, you are amazing. I think you need a Bharat Ratna. And then Nehruji was surprised and he asked Nehruji that really, am I that great? And Nehruji said, yes, Nehruji, you are amazing. And finally, Nehruji told Nehruji to give Nehruji the Bharat Ratna. And hence Nehruji obtained the Bharat Ratna. But anyway, so this is how it is. Uh, Indira Gandhi got the award in 1971, right? So these are some of the discrepancies that have been there. Anyway, these are the national civil awards given by the great people to themselves and to sometimes others also, right? This is there. Okay, solve this question very quickly. This is a prelims based question which was asked in UPSC earlier. So I hope you would have solved this question in the class or otherwise also. Let's see how many of you can get this right. No excuses here. According to MHA, yes. As per government notification, we should only give 3 Bharat every year. But we have broken this convention multiple times. Adarsh, sir, it's just a joke. Guys, the Nehruji thing was just a joke. Don't take it seriously. I am not being anti-Congress here. Don't send your Congress gundas after me, please. Chandrajyoti, sir, you told in class that Bharat can't be given to dead person. When did I say this? I said that we should not do it. We should not give it to people who are past personalities. Suggestion. Okay, so the interesting point here was not correct. Emotional aspirants did not see not correct. These are awards are titles. They are not title under Article 18. Okay. Padma Awards were given in the year 1954, suspended only once. No, twice. And number of Bharat Ratna award is limited to maximum of 5. No, it's maximum of 3, not 5, as per the government website. So all are not correct. D is the right answer. Okay, so please read the questions carefully next time. One more small point, just a small modification. The National Film Awards have been slightly modified. The 70th Film Awards, which now reflect the changes. There is a committee for rationalization of film awards. What changes have been made? So we had the Indira Gandhi Award. Indira Gandhi Award for the best debut film. It has now been renamed. So this is no longer called the Indira Gandhi Award. It is now called the Best Debut Film of Director Award. Second is the Nargis Dutt Award for Best Feature Film on National Integration. So, award named after Nargis Dutt, that is the legendary actress Nargis, mother of the very innocent Sanjay Dutt. So, this award has been renamed now. Now it is going to be called the Best Feature Film promoting national, social, and environmental values. Right. So earlier we had separate categories: social issues, environmental values. Now it's just one award. And then the Dada Saheb Phalke uh, prize money has also been increased. So Dada Saheb Phalke Award, the prize money is now 15 lakh rupees. But most of these celebs don't need money. They already have too much of money. Then the Swarn Kamal award, that has been increased to 3 lakh rupees, and the Rajat Kamal award to 2 lakh rupees. So some prize money has been increased, and also some awards have been renamed, because change is inevitable in our country. Anyway, now Smart Gram Panchayat, very innovative step being taken by our government now, is digitizing the Gram Panchayat. So I hope people from Bihar would know this. Recently, what has happened is that the Minister for Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, Giriraj Singh, he inaugurated this initiative in Begusarai district. So Baroni block of Begusarai district, where this digital empowerment of Grameen Bharat, rural India, is being undertaken. And this pilot project is called the Smart Gram Panchayat, revolution towards digitization of the Gram Panchayat. The purpose is to launch, or rather extend, two government schemes, that is PM Vani, PMWANI. Vani is the Wi-Fi access network, PM Vani. And also this will now come from Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. That's where the funding will come from. What is the purpose? Use of ICT. What is ICT? Information and Communication Technology, to access online services in the Gram Panchayat. Now, people need to understand the importance of leveraging technology for the betterment and development of the rural communities. And that is what was said by the minister also, that it is very important for panchayat representatives and functionaries to embrace technology for empowerment, for growth, for holistic development of the Gram Panchayat. That's there. So, two schemes, just to reiterate: PM Vani. What is PM Vani? Wi Fi access network interface. This is PM Vani. Objective, very simple: to expand the public Wi Fi network across the country, to provide citizens with access to internet, promoting digital inclusion. This is the scheme called PM Vani. This scheme was announced in the year 2020. Wi-Fi access everywhere, free Wi-Fi. Are you getting this point? We already have seen the cost of that we had to bear, the repercussion of low, cheap internet. So now free Wi-Fi everywhere. make more cringeworthy videos, harass everybody completely. So this PM Vani basically is a scheme where no license is required, no license needed for providers to set up Wi-Fi hotspots. So you can set up public Wi-Fi hotspots, and then there will be some public data office PDO. This public data office will deploy, maintain, and operate those hotspots. There will be a separate body called Public Data Office Aggregator. Who are these people now? This PDOA, they will aggregate the services of these PDOs and perform authorization, accounting, etc. And app providers will also have app providers. So various private companies will now develop their apps so that we can register on the Vani network, Vani compliant Wi-Fi network. Like, when you go to airports, you have to register and get to use free Wi-Fi. Similarly, there'll be some apps developed where you can use the free Wi-Fi hotspot meant for citizens, and a separate registry will be there which will maintain the records of all these app providers, all these PDOs, all these people who are providing Wi-Fi hotspot in the country. Now, of course, the beauty of this scheme is that it has universal access, aimed at providing access to Wi-Fi connectivity to users across various socio-economic groups. That is there, right? As I said, no license requirement. There are various components. We have discussed that. Universal access. That's the beauty. Simplicity and scalability, designed to be scalable by allowing multiple players to provide services under one single network, right? Free Wi-Fi. Imagine the advantage. So the idea, before that, the expected outcome that we are trying to get from here is what? Increased internet access. So increased internet access. That's there. See, wider availability of public Wi-Fi networks would mean what? More internet access to the rural areas, to underserved areas, etc. Then, of course, digital what? Digital empowerment. Will that not happen? It will, of course, happen. Facilities will now be available online, facilitates digital inclusion, empowering citizens to obtain services online, resources, information, things available online now. And of course, eventually, it's a boost to the economy. That's there, right? It is actually expected to spur the growth also. Now, there are some challenges. Let's just be very clear and open on that. Ensuring network security, service quality, how will that be maintained, especially across various geographical areas? How to make it financially sustainable? And then things like, what about security threats, right? Then the internet speed, the connection speed, that can also be a problem. Slow speeds, making it completely useless. And when lot of people are given free internet, somebody has to bear the cost. Then the paid internet become very costly. That's there. So there are some challenges. So largely, what do? We have to have robust security protocols, right? Separate teams looking into ensuring that they are free from any security threat, cyber attacks. Maybe encouraging some private sector investment, innovation in technology, developing some business models, etc. So these things are there. Anyway, solve this prelims based question from this topic. Mark the answer quickly. Guys, just a small request. Please read the question carefully. 1 minute is sufficient time to read the question carefully. PM Vani is for the entire country. It has now been extended to Begusarai in the rural areas on a pilot basis. Okay, great. Thankfully, people at least saw incorrect. That's great. So, PM Vani scheme requires service providers to obtain special license. No license is required. This is wrong. These two are correct. No problem. Okay. So, 2 and 3 are correct. Right answer is A, 1 only. And then, secondly, the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. I think you are aware of this. The objective of this scheme is what? To enhance the capacity, effectiveness of Panchayati Raj, capacity building. Remember, what is capacity building? I hope you are aware. Training. So, you are not being trained, your capacity is being built. Okay. So this Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan was launched in 2018. Later on, it was revamped again as a centrally sponsored scheme. And now the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan (RGSA), the phase is from 01/04/2022 for the next 5 years till 31st of March 2026. For this phase, we have the revamped version of the Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, where the funding, of course, come from both center and states. 60/40 ratio for the state component, 60/40 funding. Of course, for the northeastern states, for the hilly states, and for Jammu and Kashmir UT, 90/10 ratio. And for other UTs, 100% central share. You know, the government has now this slogan, Sabka Saath, Sabka Gaon, Sabka Vikas. Okay, so let's hope Gaon ka Vikas also becomes a part. Anyway, the PM has said that the amongst various castes, one caste is the farmer caste, right? So farmers, poor, youth, women, that's the caste we are referring to in the country now. Coverage, entire country is covered under the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, and the special focus is on 117 aspirational districts aiming to bridge the developmental gap. Who is implementing it? Ministry of Panchayati Raj. It's a collaborative effort between the state government and central government actually. Focus areas, devolution of powers. Remember, 3 F's: funds, functions, functionaries. 3 F's. We have to devolve the funds and functions, improving the financial management of the panchayats, transparency through e-governance, strengthening the panchayat infrastructure, planning, audit, enhancing the capacity building of our elected representatives, right? Gram Sabhas will be involved in the planning process, monitoring process. So that is there. And we have capacity building, that is a training program for PRI members, improving leadership, improving governance. Then workshops are being conducted on managing the developmental projects. Then e-governance, I hope you are aware, we are trying to provide digital tools for better service delivery, citizen engagement, right? Financial support, grants being given to PRIs for infrastructure development. And then social inclusion, ensuring adequate participation of women, SCs, STs, and other marginalized communities. Gender sensitive planning, that's the new agenda. In the rural areas, also gender sensitive planning. And the problem that we have faced in the past, the class, the caste, and the gender control, this has to be broken down. The upper class, upper caste, male dominated rural environment, it has to be demolished. So this is the RGSA. Before you see the question, just to summarize it very quickly for you. So what is the outcome expected? Uh, Enhanced self governance, right? Empowering the PRIs, and empowered PRIs will eventually be capable of self governance, local administration. Then, of course, sustainable development, right? Improved implementation of the local developmental projects, which are aligned with the SDGs, nine themes: transparency, efficiency, right? Increased transparency, increased accountability, especially through the digital initiatives like e-governance programs that we have. What can be a challenge? Challenge is limited resources, lack of awareness, digital divide. All these things are challenges, right? See, the idea of Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan is to, or rather, it represents a comprehensive effort to strengthen the foundation of local governance in India. And by focusing on things like capacity building, financial management, e governance, inclusive development, this Gram Swaraj Abhiyan aims to transform rural governance, making it more responsive to local needs. And in turn, it paves the way for sustainable development across the country. So, the Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan. That's it. Solve this question. One more question quickly. A relatively easier question. Okay, so some of you who marked D as correct. The primary objective of Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Gram village is to enhance the capacities and effectiveness of urban local bodies. Of course not. Rural. One is wrong. Right answer. Simple and sweet. Okay. Just a couple of minutes on this Chandigarh mayor election. Look at the innocent fellow here. Look at this person. How he's looking at the CCTV. I mean, what do we say? I mean, anyway, so what has been the story so far? In the mayor election for in the UT of Chandigarh. So I hope you are aware in Chandigarh, the mayor is elected by and from amongst the people only. Okay? By and amongst the people. So in Chandigarh, there are 35 total seats, ward members, plus one MP. So in Chandigarh UT, the MP is also a member of the mayor in council. Now, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress for the first time came together. This is what is called the beauty of politics, right? Aam Aadmi Party was formed to oppose Congress. They have come together. These people won 20 seats. 20 seats. And BJP. BJP won 14 seats. Now, of course, one more seat is there for the Akali Dal people, so support to BJP only. And this MP Kiran Kher also from BJP. So this MP is also there. So plus one. Voting took place. Who will win the mayor's post? Aam Aadmi Party and Indian National Congress, right? Kuldeep Kumar was their candidate. Kuldeep Kumar. For BJP, Manoj Sonka was the candidate. All the people cast their vote. Now, what happened? The returning officer who was conducting the elections, Anil Masih, this innocent fellow, he has become so popular now. Proud moment for him. His parents, his kids, right? Papa famous ho gaye. So this is a situation. Don't do such things. But then, as Rakhi Sawant said, any publicity is good publicity. So what he did was 8 votes that were cast in the favor of Kuldeep Kumar. He declared them invalid. That these votes are not valid. Nonsense. Now, because these 8 votes were declared invalid, Aam Aadmi Party BJP, who could have 20 votes minus 8, came to 12, and BJP got 14 votes. So, M. Sonka became the winner. Of course, this video footage was available. The matter went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court, interestingly, said that what is this nonsense? And Supreme Court cancelled the election and asked for re-voting, re-election, announcement of asked for the rightful winner to take the post. The votes which were declared invalid are now valid. So this is the current situation. Just to also clarify one more thing, interesting point. Aam Aadmi Party and INC have how many people? 20 people. You'll be surprised to know that 3 of these people, 3 from here, they have left Aam Aadmi Party and have joined BJP. Now, Aam Aadmi Party plus Indian National Congress, they have only 17 people. But BJP also has 17 plus one Akali Dal member plus one MP who is Kiran Kher, who is from BJP. So now BJP has the majority. And one more thing, these Aam Aadmi Party members, ward members have joined BJP. They have left their party and joined BJP. Will anti-defection law apply to these ward members? Tell me. Yes or no? Very good. Absolutely correct. Anti-defection law is only meant for state legislature and the parliament. You know, the lawmakers did not anticipate perhaps that party politics would permeate local elections. Originally envisioned as a platform for citizens to vote for individuals best suited to address their day to day concerns. But as was showcased in this election, local corporations have evolved into political hotbeds. They are just like, mirroring the intrusion of politics into panchayats. All these bigger parties have entered the politics, the local politics also, and have completely corrupted them as well. And how has Supreme Court done this? We know very well. Article 142, the absolute power of Supreme Court. Are we clear on this? Supreme Court and courts are barred from interfering in the election matters of panchayats and municipalities. Always remember. Okay. But still, the court interfered. How? Article 142. Because the court said, we want to ensure what kind of justice? Complete justice. And for complete justice, we can issue any order, any decree, any conclusion. And they have issued this order. End of story. This is the judicial activism of the Supreme Court. Interfere here, there, everywhere. Means here it is justified actually, right? So this is with respect to the Supreme Court's interference, Article 142. Okay. Now, just to quickly summarize mayor elections, how do mayor elections take place? Tell me. How are the mayors elected? Directly or indirectly? State legislature by law decides. Do you remember all this? Long, long time ago, when you used to study polity, then you studied a topic which was called panchayats and municipalities, right? So, under that topic, we discussed that for municipalities, the mayors, the chairperson's election, state legislature decides. In some states, it is direct, in some places, it is indirect. I hope you remember this. Anyway, what about panchayats? Tell me, Gram Panchayat, chairperson, direct or indirect, the sarpanch, how is he elected? You will not let me sleep properly. After reading your answers, it is emotional trauma for me. State legislature by law decides. Some of you, by your names, I can see you are attending the current morning batch of polity. I just taught this topic 3 4 days ago. God is watching all this. No revisions happening at all. Right? Great. Amazing. How will we survive in this difficult world without revision? So, what about these two? Intermediate panchayat and district panchayat. How are the chairpersons elected here? State decides? No. Here, indirectly. Guys, I would request you please go and see the photograph I had drawn in the class. Such beautiful photograph was drawn using various colored ink to make you remember. And I had told you write that 3 4 times, but nothing is happening. Anyway, I hope this point is clear now. Should we proceed? Let's proceed. Solve this very, very easy and interesting question. Uh, Once we are done, we look at the last topic for today. Then I'll try to address your concerns if you have any. Keep solving. Great. Lot of you got this correct. Amazing. The head of Gram Panchayat, known as mayor, is directly elected. Nonsense. Head of Gram Panchayat, known as Sarpanch or Pradhan, is directly elected by people in most states. So this is okay. Head of Gram Panchayat is appointed by the governor. Nonsense. Head of Gram Panchayat, known as mayor, is elected by members of Gram Sabha. Nonsense. Okay. So I've given a very interesting question to all of you to write. Examine the role and significance of a directly elected leader and these people in PRIs with special reference to Sarpanch in the Gram Panchayat. So here, please talk about in the introduction carefully. Listen to me. Write about the importance of PRIs and the concept of direct election within this governance framework. In the body, mention the role of directly elected leaders. How? Elaborate their role with special focus on Sarpanch, highlighting their responsibilities like community engagement, implementation of developmental projects, etc. And also importance of direct election, like accountability, transparency, responsiveness of leader towards the local communities. This in turn can strengthen the democratic decentralization. It can foster community participation, and then also challenges faced, like resource constraint, administrative hurdles, political pressures, and eventually, in the conclusion, give some suggestions. Clear? Interesting question. Please take an attempt, especially those who are preparing for the next year and all. You can write mains answers. Last topic for today is the reservation for Marathas, though it is something which is too early to state now because we don't know what will happen. I hope you know what has happened in Maharashtra. Recently, the Maharashtra State Reservation for Socially and Educationally Backward Classes Act was passed, wherein the Maratha community was classified as a socially and educationally backward class. Can the states have their own OBC list? Tell me, yes or no? Innocent people here. Yes, of course. Can the state have its separate scheduled caste list? Yes or no? No. No separate scheduled caste list or ST list, but states can have their own separate OBC list. Article 342A, Clause 3 allows states to have a separate OBC list. So, in Maharashtra, now Marathas are also classified as SEBC, one category, and 10% reservation in government jobs and admission to schools and colleges. Okay. See, in Maharashtra, we already have 52% reservation, 13% for scheduled castes. Let me write here. 13% for scheduled castes. We have for scheduled tribes 7%. Then we have for OBCs 19%. Then for the Vimukt Jati is the denotified tribes, 3%. Then nomadic tribe B, tribe C, tribe D, 2.5%, 3.5%. For tribe D, it is 2%. Then special backward classes, 2%. So this total becomes how much? 13, 7, 19, 3, 2.5, 3.5 and 2, 52. 10% EWS, 10% Maratha reservation. This brings the total reservation to 72% now. Just to clarify, don't get super excited. Tamil Nadu has a reservation of 69% since 1993. Though this reservation in Tamil Nadu, which is over 50%, has been challenged in Supreme Court and is pending in Supreme Court since 2012. Nothing has happened on this. Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh also has a reservation of 58% since 2011. In fact, this was set aside by the Chhattisgarh High Court, but Supreme Court put a stay order and they allow for it now. So this matter also pending in Supreme Court. Recently in Bihar, the reservation has been made 75%. Guys, I'm talking about government jobs, not private jobs. Okay. Then most states in Northeast, Arunachal, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, they also have more than 50% reservation. By virtue of greater degree of autonomy, these states have been accorded by the constitution for their governance in the interest of the indigenous communities. So various states do have more than 50% reservation. In fact, in Maharashtra, there are some exemptions also, like in the super specialized posts, medical posts, technical posts. Here, this reservation will not be there, or in the minority educational institutions. But then, and if any organization does not follow it, there is jail sentence. I think 3 months of jail, fine of 25,000. But yes, of course, this reservation is not for creamy layer. The same criteria that is there for creamy layer, it is not there. See, the real problem was this issue that this reservation has been tried in Maharashtra in the last 10 years 3 times. I'll tell you. In 2014, one Narayan Rane committee was set up. It gave the recommendation, and the then government actually issued an ordinance also, which later on could not continue because of the new government. Then later on in 2017, the Fadnavis government prepared or set up a Gaikwad Commission. Gaikwad Commission. Now, Gaikwad Commission again gave a recommendation. This Gaikwad Commission's recommendation was made into an act also. You'll be surprised to know that a law was actually made in 2018 where reservation was given to Marathas. But this law was challenged and cancelled by the Supreme Court. Previous law, this one, Maharashtra state reservation for SEBCs, was actually cancelled by Supreme Court. So we don't really know whether this new law will stand the test of Supreme Court or not. Who knows? That's a concern actually, and that is why there is lot of skepticism in the mind of people, because this is an extra additional 10%. The demand was to put Marathas under the OBC category only, without hampering with the or without tampering with the or without hampering the 50% cap. This was the demand. But now let's see what happens. Because as per the Indra Sahni judgment, ideally reservation should be only 50%. If it crosses 50%, it is up for judicial review. And then the judiciary will look into it. What is the parameter? What is the criteria? In fact, the Gaikwad Commission's recommendation earlier was cancelled because the commission said that the Supreme Court said, what parameter? The parameters are wrong. But this current commission, whose recommendation has been made into a law, Justice Shukre Commission, this commission has said that Marathas are around 28% in the total population. 28%. Of which 84% are backward people. So they have collected lot of data. They say that we have utilized modern technology for a detailed survey, and we have analyzed the Maratha community's socio-economic status with other classes, and then we have come up with this reservation data, right? So these people are economically backward, right? Socially and economically as well as educationally backward communities. 84% of them. In fact, they have also said that most of the farmer suicides being done were done by Marathas, right? So this was there. Government has accepted it. Now let's see what the story folds into in future. Whether Shukre Commission, Shukre is the Shukre Justice Shukre Commission, based on which the new reservation was made in Maharashtra. So the states are constantly breaching this limit of 50% in government jobs. Let's see what happens to the this reservation. Will it stand the test of time, or will it meet the same fate as the previous effort in 2018 of the Maharashtra government? Because this is for government jobs, but recently, you know very well, in Haryana, they had made a law. Remember, a law was made in Haryana, the Haryana State Employment of Local Candidates Act 2020. So, in all those private sector jobs, where the monthly salary was less than 30,000 rupees, uh, reservation 75% jobs to be reserved for how many years? 10 years. This has been cancelled by the Punjab and Haryana High Court, has struck it down. But just to give you a gentle reminder here, a petition has been filed in Supreme Court against this Punjab and Haryana High Court judgment, and Supreme Court has accepted the petition just recently. Let's see what happens here also. Though we have seen very well that Supreme Court never appreciates reservation in private sector. They have always cancelled it, right? because anyway, reservation in government jobs for local people, for locals, because such kind of local reservation is based on residence. It is not based on caste and all. And residence based reservation is only allowed for the parliament. State government or state legislature cannot make reservation based on residence. That is not allowed. Only the parliament can do it. This Haryana case is a gone story because Supreme Court will ideally cancel it. Let's see what the story in Maharashtra is. I think it's high time Supreme Court revamps its Indra Sani judgment and lets us know what exactly is the scenario. The Tamil Nadu situation is pending. The Chhattisgarh situation is pending. I'm not sure what has happened in the Bihar case, whether somebody has filed a PIL or not. Now we'll have the Maharashtra case. So many cases are pending that we need to have a clarity on what is happening. It wastes the time of the legislative assemblies. Anyway, our MPs never work, MLAs hardly work, and when they make a law, you cancel the law. At least set the guidelines properly so that these things don't happen in future. So this is a situation with respect to Maratha reservation. Let the story unfold. Shukre finding was simply that Marathas are backward. 84% Marathas are backward, socially, educationally, economically backward, and hence they needed reservation to bring them at par. That's it. This is sufficient. Okay, solve this very easy question. Last question for the day. No more questions to disturb you. And then we'll show you the leaderboard for today. 28% of the total people in Maharashtra are Marathas, of which 84% are backward people. Shweta, language. That's true, Aniket. Absolutely correct. Okay, a lot of you got this correct. The Constitution of India provides reservation only for SC/STs. This is wrong. Not only SC/BCs also. Reservation of OBCs comes from this. Really, not this. What is this? Tell me. What is this? 52nd Amendment Act. This is anti-defection law. C is the right answer. The provision of reservation in India is applicable only to government jobs and does not extend to private sector employment. That is correct. Or education. No, education it extends. C is the right answer. And lastly, we have one mains question as well. Assess the impact of the reservation system under the Indian Constitution on social justice and equality. Discuss the challenges associated and also suggest ways to make reservation system more effective. Talk about the impact, the positive impact, how it has played a crucial role in providing opportunities for education, for employment to the underprivileged sections, etc., leading to their socio-economic upliftment. Limitations, criticism, right? Reservation, the efficiency of it, is it truly reaching the marginalized, or it is being cornered by the elite people only? Then the challenges, political misuse, creamy layer issues in OBC, debate over reservation in the private sector, right? Then the Supreme Court's controversy, 50%, that's there. And then effectiveness has to be increased, right? Excluding the creamy layer, enhancing education, skill development, transparent and data driven mechanism should be there. It should not be based on vote bank politics. So all these things are there. So that is it with respect to our discussion for the day. And that is all for today, guys. Jai Hind. If you have any questions, feel free. Let's see what doubts you have. We'll try to address them. Adarsh, what's the meaning of high time? High time? Oh, it's high time. High time means, uh, it's too late now. You should be studying. That is what is high time. When you should have done something way long ago, but you have not done it. That is what is high time. Uh, any queries, concerns, guys, specific to me, which you were not satisfied with the mentor's response, or you want some further clarity? Don't force me into making some remarks against some politician and all, please. Divya, how to write better conclusion? Practice, ma'am. This is all practice. Practice. Rishika, please, no current affairs notes. You have a magazine, right? Monthly magazine. Mug up that magazine. Don't make your own separate notes. Don't waste time. Leaderboard. Okay, Bhavan and Aditya. Aditya Sheer Sagar and Bhavan. Very good. Congratulations. Most of these questions were unseen completely. So great. Himanshu, Dhanya, Fani, Nazla, Chituri, Manjiri, Sejal, Mukera, Vedshri, Madan, Preeti and Femina, Kambapati, Muskan, Rupkhole, Vrutika, Krishika, Roshan, all at rank 3. Very good here. Excellent. Okay, so that's great. Tomorrow will be clear. Yes, sir. Tomorrow we have a morning batch. Go and sleep. Please wake up and join the class on time. Yes, Kirtana, start writing answers. We do require an independent survey body. But who will build the cat? When you say that dominant people are taking up reservations, they are also dominant in numbers, right? So, of course, vote bank politics. Vrutika, no. As of now, no. No, Vikram, that's not possible. Division bench. Shweta, Shweta, I don't really understand. Some batches are not being conducted. Mentors, please look into this response. What is the concern with this lady here? Rahul, please share your email ID. Send your email ID to me with this query that you have. 30 plus issue. Sasi, punishment for returning officer. No punishment. He will not be a part of this system for a few years now. What punishment can we do? Vrutika, sir, but that Tamil Nadu is placed under schedule, so how can it be challenged? Oh, how innocent. Uh, guys, before you leave, one aspirant has asked a question that, sir, Tamil Nadu's reservation policy is under schedule 9. How dare you challenge it? Can we challenge it? Tell me. Yes, of course we can challenge it. Which case was that? Name the judgment. Which judgment allows for the judicial review of laws post 1973? IR Coelho case. IR Coelho 2007 says that any law put under Schedule 9 after 1973 will be subject to the test of basic structure doctrine. Sasi, concerned team, this is not something under my control. Sir, tips on managing sleep. You take online, offline class. Sushmit, no tips on managing sleep. I wish I could manage my sleep. But anyway, as of now, take 7 hours of sleep. But till your exams are over, trust me, sleeping is difficult for you. Though I would always want my aspirants to take proper sleep. Maybe some power nap in the afternoon, that would help. What else? Any other? Uh, Chandra Jyoti. No, there is nothing wrong. If your GS answers are at par with the optional answer, that's amazing, right? It should not be the other way around. That your optional answers look like some GS answer. Okay, in batch four. Oh, wait, where is this doubt going away? In batch four, there is should be social issues and justice class. Mail this concern. I'll see what is the issue. I don't know all these things. So, what should I do? Should I teach you and study polity and governance, or should I look into this? Some tips for prelims 2024. Wow, wow. Now there is no tip. Just revise, solve mock tests. One mock test every day. When will you visit Delhi? I came last time in Delhi, last batch of Delhi last year, maybe in a couple of months. Evening batch, the next evening batch. So, conclusion, Sasi, own perspective or standard, it will take some time. You have to keep on practicing it. And as I have said, the best conclusion is always going to be suggestions, right? Suggestions. We can't think of unique conclusions in 20 different answers. That's how it is. Okay, guys, I believe your questions have so far been addressed. 2025 prelims tips. Right now, you finish the syllabus, Chaya. Then we'll have the tips. LEJ, legislature, executive, judiciary. Sairaj, yes, Sairaj. I know you. Glad to see you again. Okay, great, Vidya. Okay, guys, let's end our discussion today. We had a great discussion. We have yet another polity webinar coming up. I hope we have the schedule now. If not, let me tell you. I think it's on 18th or 19th. Just verify it. The next webinar is on 19th of March. We'll have some more interesting topics, right? Uh, in the next webinar. Okay, that's all for me, guys. Jai Hind, and all those who have a morning class tomorrow, please come to class on time. If I can go to a studio and record and take the class, you can get up in your house as well. Right? Okay, that's all for me, guys. Jai Hind.